home. I'm going to play an intro.
It's a requirement for you to dance for this, Tracy. And Brian's in on it too.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you, Tracy?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. It's a beautiful day, and I think it's even going to be more beautiful as the day goes by. This is going to be a fantastic show. I don't know. I've been in the cave for a couple of hours now, so I'm not sure what's going on.
It's not sunny over where I'm at, so I'm assuming probably not by you either.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of a murky day for a minute, but the sun will come out, if not tomorrow, the next day.
Well, welcome everybody to the Connect Show with Jon and Tracy, where we join you each week to celebrate small business ownership and provide you the resources you need to be successful.
So we'd like to support you in your journey, and one way that we can support you is in our networking event. Every Friday at 10 a.m. we have an epic networking event where you can connect with other small business owners, and it's really turned into a mastermind where we can discuss some of the challenges that we face as small business owners and have a group of coaches and other small business owners help you work through it. It's been really productive. So join us if you can Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Central for the epic networking event.
We have a special guest today too, having to do with our epic networking event, so that's kind of cool.
Right.
If you are not on Zoom right now, please, I'm totally messing up my stuff here. So like and subscribe if you're listening to this on podcast, LinkedIn, YouTube, or the Facebooks, and reach out to us at theideas@theconnectshow.com if you have any questions or if you'd like to be on the show. And if you're not on Zoom land right now, if you're not joining us in Zoom and you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook Live or LinkedIn Live, go to bit.ly/theconnectshow.com to join us over here on Zoom and get your questions answered by experts.
It's great to be a part of the conversation because there are such great experts, and today we have some fantastic people on the show. Brian Daley with New Life Financial Alliance is going to be joining us, and Mackie McNeil, and she is the owner of 3 groups, including Mackie, a financial growth coaching firm, and the Prosperity People.
And coming up next week, we have a brand new show having to do with organization. And I'm not sure at the moment who's on that show, but I bet you might know because you just got done doing some of our graphics.
I did, and it is the 15th, and so it is called Finding Balance. Okay, so I have no idea what it is then, because I remember the 15th.
It's Paul Stryer. It was a quiz. It was Paul Stryer and Alexis Nicole White, and they are going to talk to us about courses and organizational plans for your business. So we're moving over to organizational things and courses for March, and that's going to be our first show on it.
Yeah, that's going to be great. I know that the digital course warrior, Paul Stryer, is going to bring a lot of great information on how to build a course. And then when we talk about project management, that's going to be another great part of the show. So if you have an opportunity, share your information with the group, put your name and your LinkedIn profile in the chat. And we do have an extraordinary amount of people today. This is interesting. I wonder if we have a link issue. We should definitely check our email and make sure that everything's coming through.
My registration expired, I think, so I had to go to last week to get the link for today. I didn't go re-register. I just knew to go to my calendar. So maybe the original registrations, like their amount expired. So the reminders expire.
I pulled this one right off of I used right off the website and didn't have a problem. So
Yeah, the link works. The link works great, but the calendar reminders might have run out. So people might have to re-register.
I see.
Okay, that's interesting.
So this month we talked all about financial info. What's one thing that you learned, John, from this month that you're going to use forever and ever and ever now that you know it?
Yeah, and I think, we talked about earlier, we talked about action items that we can put into place for being financially sound or having financial well-being. And the difficult action item that I put into place was writing down every single purchase every single day.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm going through and looking at what I bought, and I have a bad habit of stopping at the butcher shop and getting meat, and then stopping at the organic store to get the vegetables. And so when I shop for food, that tab can get pretty big. And if I don't write it down, I don't know how big it gets. And so by writing it down, it keeps it front of mind and keeps me on track with my budget. So what is one action item or one thing that you've learned? I know you talked about you do a financial thing every day. What else have you learned in this past month?
Well, I've also done the tracking of everything that I'm spending, and it does make me second guess about what I'm spending my money on. So I have done that. But one thing that I really did spend some time on, and I might have talked about this already before, was, but I don't remember, was going through the whole months of apps and things that are going to renew for the whole year ahead of time. And that has really saved me. However, you have to make sure that you also document which card you're putting those on, because you're expecting them to come in, but all of a sudden it might come in at the place that you didn't expect it, and that's no good.
Yeah.
So
the sneaky one is if you have a Roku TV or like a Samsung TV, somehow that gets connected to some unknown credit card and bank account. Like it went through Roku to Google Pay to PayPal and then to some bank account and then ended up in my account. So I didn't even know that I was getting those charges. Yeah. It was crazy. Crazy. That's how they get you.
I know. And it's hard to keep track of, especially because of all the digital money and how it transfers now. Like they don't exactly put really good descriptions on what's being pulled out. And you really have to pay attention to it because, I don't know, with me, with being in digital marketing, there's a ton of digital tools that I use, and I have things coming out of accounts everywhere. And it's like a job in itself just to keep track of all that.
Yeah. I've been trying to isolate my cards. So I have one card for food and then one card for business subscriptions, like you said. Mm-hmm. So I've been trying to do that. I haven't. It's a work in progress. Work in progress. Our quote this day is: "Money, like emotions, is something you must control to keep your life on the right track." Money, like emotions, is something you must control to keep your life on the right track. And that's by Natasha Munson. Great quote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when your emotions get bad, then you don't want to pay attention to your money. Mm-hmm. or vice versa. Like if your money's really good, then you'll stop paying attention to your money because you think it's really good. Or if it's really bad, then you don't want to pay attention to it because it's really bad. And then emotionally, you don't fix anything. You don't do anything. You don't make any changes then to make it better.
Yeah, and if you're not managing your money, it can affect your emotions because you might think that you don't have any money, and I think you're gonna act differently in the world if you feel like you don't have money than if you do have money. I do, so I always have to think, even if I don't have money, that I do have money, so then I can act at my best self. Money can't buy you happiness, but sure make life a lot easier.
Yeah.
So with that, we'll do a little vitamins for the soul. I'm going to be on that beach in a minute, right? Okay. So we'd like to have a conversation with everybody here, and we have a small group today, so this should go quickly. And we're going to double check that. That link to make sure that we have good connection here. So, how do you control the finances in your life? We talked about that a little bit. You and I did, Tracy. So, Kim, do you have a financial plan that you'd like to share?
It's not really a plan. I guess, I kind of I said this a couple of weeks ago. I think I kind of take things with the ebbs and flows, but I'm starting to take some of Tracy's tips a little bit and really research and document the exact things when they auto come out of my account. Like, it's really important that that ends up on my calendar so I don't have a big one hit me. If, like, I think Tracy maybe said this last week, there are some things that you subscribe for 3 years because you get a great deal. And then all of a sudden you've got a, $400 or $500 auto payment come out. And you're like, what is that for? I don't remember that because you did it 3 years ago. So I find that I thought that was a really great tip from Tracy. And I keep most of my stuff in a good old spreadsheet. It's the best way for me. I don't really have a CRM that I've found that's amazing for that. I think a spreadsheet is just the best way for me to track everything. And it's kind of like almost like using the checkbook registry. If anyone remembers that. I think we're all old enough to
The good old days.
But it's kind of like that, where you can add in your deductions and hopefully a lot more is coming in than's going out. So
We have a lot of people with their cameras off, so if you'd like to chime in, feel free to join us in the conversation. You can unmute and turn your camera on.
Is Debbie there? I'm sure Debbie might be there.
I'm here. You just know my house is always loud. This is a terrible topic for me. I'm a shopaholic. And I'm a financial person, so it's a terrible situation we got going on here. I balance every day. It's just a habit between my personal, the restaurant, and my business. It's just, you have to. There's so many moving targets. I'm very good in the business aspect. I know everything that's going on. Renewals, licensing renewals, I know all that. But in my personal business, I've been paying $2.99 a month to Apple probably for 5 years because I have no idea where it's coming from or what it's for. So it is my donation to Apple. $2.99 a month. I have no idea. I have tried to backtrack where it's connected to. I do not know, and I figured it's not worth my time for $2.99. So I just pay it. I've changed debit cards. It still comes out. No idea. So yeah.
See, that's the stuff I'm talking about. That
Exactly.
weird finagled stuff.
And I can keep it low enough that you're just not going to deal with it. And then I forget about it for a month. And then next month, it's like, God dang it, So, and I've actually looked at, there are some software apps out there that will track your subscriptions and look to see what you're all subscribed to and ask you, are you still using them or not? I've actually thought about doing that because twice this month I've gotten bit in the butt. With something renewing that I didn't even know I have. So now I was so kind to pay for Quicken for another year, and I never have done anything in it. didn't even realize
Oh,
I had
Quicken's
it.
the worst. Yep. QuickBooks is really expensive too.
Yeah, I use QuickBooks for the business, but I must have did like a free trial for Quicken to see which one I was going to use.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, it renewed. So now I have it for another year that I will never
Mm.
use. So
Mhm.
don't follow me. I'm down a terrible path. So
Well, I think our guests today are going to give you a bunch of information on how you can do better. That's why we have the show. We have
mess.
the best and the brightest from around the world. And normally we have a commercial, but I think we should go right into our first guest. What do you think, Tracy?
I think we should, but I'm curious if Ellen Daley had anything she wanted to contribute to the conversation too.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to keep my camera on. I'm going, I don't know, this live streaming.
Well, I saw you turn it on, so that told me that you might have been interested in sharing.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, exactly. Well, it's just kind of a weekly opportunity just to make sure that you review everything that you have. And what COVID's taught us is go look in your closet or go look in your shelves, or do you really need it? Do you need more stuff? I need another shirt. Do I need more sneakers? You laid everything out, you got everything organized. So that's really what, the last couple of years is, you really didn't need a whole lot because you couldn't just jump in the car and just go and buy something. So, but that's how I manage the money is I just go look at shopping first in my closet and go, okay, there you go. I don't need it. I don't need it right now, but that's it.
Mm.
Yeah, Kim said she's on a major purge right now. But they say, then you purge everything and it makes room for new stuff, and then what? Then
I have not been on the new stuff purchase. I am just purging and purging and purging, and it feels amazing. It feels so good. It also feels like I'm throwing money away though, because I'm just donating. I'm not selling. I have no time for a rummage sale. I just gone.
Yeah, that's hard. That makes you think twice about buying something though again.
Absolutely does.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
And
Mackie
yep, she's here.
Yep, Mackie McNeil has made it her life mission to help business owners achieve 3 freedoms of prosperity: money, mind, and time. Her unique approach, Prosper for Business, is part CFO, part coaching, and part skill building. Prosper clients achieve, on average, an over $100,000 increase in their net income in the first year in the Prosper process.
Mackie is the owner of 3 companies: Mackie, a financial growth firm; The Prosperity People, a fee-only life planning firm; and Why Settle, which is an online learning company. She has won numerous awards for her work, including in 2022 being recognized as a top 200 real leader.
Welcome, Mackie. I really appreciate you joining us today. And, our question of the day was money, like emotions, needs to be recognized and managed. So tell us about how you came to develop a business that helps business owners achieve the 3 freedoms of prosperity.
Oh, you're muted.
Interfere there. Sorry, I didn't want to interfere when y'all having a great conversation accidentally. So thanks for that question, John. This has been a passion project for me. I had a family story of that really gave me this passion. My dad was a veterinarian. It was his lifelong dream. And he achieved that dream when I was a small girl. And within a few years, he went bankrupt practicing veterinary medicine. He was a great vet, but he wasn't a very good business person. So I grew up with this story. And as I looked at how I wanted to do in my life, I thought, I really want to help small business people, because I worked for a lot of small businesses part-time to make money for college. And I noticed that this was kind of universal, that they were good at what they did, but they necessarily weren't good at the business part of business. So I thought I should learn the language of business, which was accounting. And I became a CPA. But I found that CPAs didn't really help business owners prosper. They did their tax work and some things like that, but there really wasn't a system that they could put together to help them use their data more strategically to grow their business, to grow their bottom line, to have a better life. So this became just a quest for me. And fortunately, I had some business owners that let me practice. I practiced on myself and I practiced on them, and over time built the system that we now call Prosper.
That is such a powerful. I think, you know, in the introduction, it talked about, you know, clients can achieve over $100,000 increase in their net income in their first year of the Prosper process. How do you do that?
Well, we have a system, first of all, and so it's part coaching, part skill building, as I said, and part putting your data together in a way that you can actually begin to make different decisions. Because the bottom line is the results we get are based on the decisions we're making, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're making the best decisions, which I think all business owners are, based on their current data and their current mindset, how do you make that better? Well, we start with data. We're data people. And so we put together data and we make it in pictures, make it easy to read. And we really coach people about how to use their data, how to understand their data, what their business is telling them, and use a variety of tools. So we build an entire financial operating system over the course of that first year. So they, over time, learn how to use this data to make better decisions on a daily basis. We involve their team, and therefore they're not doing all the work themselves. They've got some people helping them with the heavy lifting. So that's where some of the time freedom begins to come in, because now I'm not doing all what it takes to make my business grow. I've got my whole team coming with me.
And so we're off to a good start, because you talked about data as being a key point to prosperity, and both Tracy and I are gathering the data. Now we're going to have to come to you to figure out what to do with it. Now that we know how we're not spending our money well, you can coach and guide us on how to fix that.
Yeah, we have. That's one of our 5 mindset shifts, John, that we ask business owners to really take hold of. And one is to use data as a convener in their business. So, you know, we've been in environments where data was kind of used as a whip. It's like, you didn't meet your numbers, bad person. Mm-hmm. And we're saying, like, no, reverse that and get your team involved and help you put together your plan and everybody understand where you're going, so you can use data to bring people together to help them understand how to help the business to grow. That's one of the 5. The other one is to bring your heart to work, to bring your passion, talk to your team about why you're passionate about your business, and attract people who have that same passion. You know, another piece is to change your focus. So many business owners focus just on their top line. Just got to grow sales, and everything will follow. And it doesn't necessarily work that way. You've really got to have a much broader perspective, which is what comes in with building the better toolbox. A financial toolbox that really helps you see where you need to make different decisions. And so with those focuses, with the final one being stop being a fulcrum. You know, most business owners, they have to be involved in everything. And what we say is build a circle that disperses the heavy lifting and gets everything. It makes it easier for you and lets everybody else take some of the load.
She keeps repeating that. Build your circle. Get more people to lift the heavy load.
Yes, it's a miracle. I mean, people, you know, they talk about the Great Resignation, but really it's about people just being disengaged and not feeling any passion and joy at work. So when you get your team involved to help you move forward, you engage their hearts, and nobody's more at work and at present and on your team than someone who's bringing their heart to work. But you have to bring your heart to work first.
And our next guest, Brian Daley, is going to talk about financial stuff, but he's also he's a master strategic partner. And I think we should touch on that, because I think this new generation, after the Great Resignation, is that we are developing strategic partners to help all of us grow, rather than employees or hiring or working for people. We're all our own business, but we're strategically partnering ourselves with other businesses to help us all grow and thrive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think people only grow in community, truthfully. And so that's another way to think about that. Is so in our business, we have a combination of employees and strategic partners and some of both. In some areas, the strategic partner is best. And in some areas, you want to have your own team, internal team.
And 20 years ago, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say 20 years ago, the ideal business, is when Google was starting to make their campuses and all the silicone tech companies. And when you thought about creating your business, it was, how can I get a bunch of employees and have a cafe and do all this? And now the landscape of what a successful business looks like is much different, or that dream is much different.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it is. And I think that, I've seen it involved in my own business. I've been in business for 40 years. This is my 40th. And I started with, I always did everything myself or had my employees do everything. But it's so much more effective to have those key people that you can really shine in different areas.
So what does a better toolbox look like then? So after we've gone through the different mindset approaches and working over our data, how does it look now?
Okay, well, that's a great question, Tracy. Thank you. Well, I would say that we think about data, and sometimes we're not very excited about it because it's our accountant coming at us with long columns of numbers. But I call that your been there data, been there, past. Okay, so we have to have been there data. We have to know what happened in our past. Although I would say if we put that data together in a little bit different way as opposed to long columns, we can make some trending graphs with it. We can actually understand that data better. So that's the first thing. We do have to have solid data. You cannot go anywhere without knowing where you've been. You have to know what that foundation is. So that's sometimes what I find is 90% of the time, small business people don't really have that solid. They've got some data, but it's kind of a mess. So first we have to kind of clean up the mess, because otherwise we're building something on a foundation that's shaky. So then we have to have our hope here data, right? We have dreams and goals, and where do we want to be when we grow up? What's our big idea? What's success look like for us? But then we have to take that hope here data and we have to say, well, what does that look like for next year? I call that the plan here data. So next year, I want to have a plan that's going to take me one step closer to my big idea. And that looks very specific. What kind of revenue, what kind of costs, what kind of profit, how much cash am I going to need? How am I going to put these things together? And I'm going to do it from a planning perspective and hopefully engage your team. So the next place I'm going to do, so I've got my been there data, my hope here data, my plan here data. And now I'm going to start reporting on that. And I'm going to start forecasting. So most businesses can look to the future somewhere between 30 to 90 days. What do I think's likely to happen in the future? I need to look at my past, my been there data. I need to know what that is. But if I can actually start then having just a small window into the future, I can say, you know what? I don't think I'm going to be on plan the next 2 or 3 months. So I need to do something now so that my next quarter doesn't fall apart. So I can be much more proactive. And of course, the last place that we need to have data is what I call the look here data. If you're measuring the right things in your been there data, you're going to see things that don't make sense, that don't help you, that are problem areas in your business. And that's where you need to dive in and look deeper and sort of dig it out. I was teaching a class recently, and the woman said, I decided after taking your class, I was going to dig in. And she said, I realize I'm really not making any money at all. So and she said, I found a way then to make my product in half the time and to make twice as much, because I just decided I needed to change my whole process. I wasn't going to keep doing this, but she had to get to that point of, I'm going to look at the truth, make a different choice.
So now I
was just going to say the time versus the amount of money you're making plays a big role in it too. Like you got to figure out how much time you're spending on everything, not only not only your data.
Yes, that's what's so true. Business owners, if you want to make more money, you can just work more time. You can just work more hours. And business owners really start out often there. I'm working more and more and more. And they give up everything for that. No family life left, no personal life left, no exercise time left. But if you really start taking the role and saying, I'm going to use data as a knowledge booster for me, and I'm going to be smarter about how I run my business and put my toolbox together. People can get overwhelmed because when I talk about a toolbox, it seems like a big thing, and it is, but you only have to put it together one piece at a time and learn how to use one piece every time one piece as you go. And then eventually you'll not only have better decisions and make more money, but you'll have more time freedom because other people will be helping you drive your results. You'll be building that circle.
I love it. So now that we're collecting our data, Tracy, we have at least a fundamental idea of what those tools are to prosper. And I love that you shared that with us, Mackie. I have a question for you, and I think you're going to be the right person to describe this. And what does financial freedom feel like? I know it's going to be a little bit different for everybody, but like, what does my relationship look like if I have that financial freedom? What does my, my family life look like? What does it feel like, and how could you describe that?
Well, so for first person, I would say I have achieved financial freedom. And for me, and as I see, I also have the experience of many clients being at that place. And what I see for them is one of the big things that happens, they quit worrying so much about money, but to become financially free and to stay financially free also takes a system. So somebody said to me earlier, I look at it every week. You don't necessarily have to look at it every week, but you do have to have a check-in. So we have a plan, you know where you're going to go. You have an idea of how you're going to spend your money, and you have to check in periodically to make sure everything's still okay. But I find people expand themselves in ways they never really thought they would, right? Because now they don't have to go to work to make more money. I didn't have to start a new company. I just wanted to. It was something that I felt like we could really make a difference. Our big vision is to build a prosperous world, one small business owner at a time. And we went through some educational tools that we put together. We thought we could forward that with smaller businesses. So this was a very exciting idea, but I didn't do it because I had to do it. I did it because I just wanted it. It was just for the joy.
I love what you said. Expand themselves in new ways that they never thought they could before. And, that's a beautiful saying.
And it sounds to me like her financial freedom, anyways, is that she got to choose whether or not she wanted to start a business because she was financially secured.
Absolutely.
So it's like, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the big difference between financial freedom and not. It's like, are we at a place where I can choose to go to work? I might choose to go to work, or I might decide that my passion at work is over and I want to put my passion into volunteering or nonprofit. I mean, if you study
gardening.
Yeah. Yes. Everybody needs a passion project. If whether you need the money or not is totally optional. At some point, you can actually put your life together so to say, I'm going to achieve this point where I don't have to go to work for money anymore.
So that means that you're getting residual income from previous businesses or things that you've done that are now supporting you.
Yes, or your investments, of course, as well. I'm a fundamental believer in not having all your eggs in one basket. And if you decide to have all your eggs in one basket, of course, you best watch it very closely. But as we know from the pandemic, no matter how closely you watch one basket, things happen. And inevitably, life will be different in the future. So, that's why having your eggs go to spread around. I've got some investments in a variety of things that are external to me. I've had investments in my business. I have investments in rental property. So I have a variety of things that will react differently in different market conditions, because you have to control what you can, my decisions, my money, my choices, but I can't just control the external environment. I just have to make my decisions, understanding that unpredictability is all part of of what you're getting into.
Mm.
Oh, that's good insight to what financial freedom looks like.
Yeah, thank you.
Because everybody has a different opinion on it, so it's nice to hear everybody's difference of opinions on it. But basically, I like I got to choose if I wanted to do a business or not. I like
Yeah.
that answer the best.
Absolutely. And, that leads me into, we talked about mind freedom, freedom from worry. And, think about, I think that is one of the three freedoms is if you have purpose, that's one part of it, but also just not worrying. People tend to do a couple of things. They either become architects or investigators. They like archaeologists rather. They dig into their money and they look at all the details. And that can be exhausting. Or they become ostriches and they just stick their head in the sand and I don't want to look at it anymore. But really, we need to be somewhere in between. We can't afford to not look at it. And if we spend all our time in the details, we'll just spend all our time worrying. So having a system that tells us what do we need to, it's not today. The problem with data isn't so much about having the right data, which it used to be. John remembers those times when you didn't have data, really. You had to wait for your accountant to send you something, right? Well, that's not the case anymore. We have data all the time, but now we're overwhelmed with data. So it's about sorting the data and finding what's the right data for me to attend to so that I've got the pain points in front of me and I can make an adjustment when I need to quickly if I need to.
Mm-hmm.
Bill's blowing up the chat.
He is.
Become an ostrich butt slapper was my favorite one.
That was good.
Well, thank you so much, Mackie, for coming on today and telling us about all of your insights and what you do.
Well, thanks for having me, Tracy and John. It's been a delight. And
we can find more information about you on our website at the Connect Show / Mackie McNeil, all connected, no spaces in there. And did you have anything that you wanted to share with our guests today, special just for them, or any upcoming events or anything that you'd like to tell them about?
I'd love to say that my class was starting again, but I'm actually just finishing my class. We call it the Foundations of Financial Freedom. But we will be teaching it again. I will be teaching it again. And it's the 5-step financial review for your business. So if you'd like to go on our website, mackieadvisors.com, you can sign up for our newsletter and you'll understand when we're offering that class again. There's also a ton of free tools, including a Prosperous Mind scorecard and a bunch of different things to help you kick your 5 types of data off and to get you started on a path to prosperity.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'll have a great day.
Wow. She's blowing my mind.
Blowing my mind.
We're off to our networking report.
So many buttons. Laptop mouse pad is not my friend today. So I am Kim Knock and I am doing the networking report today. First things first, let me get to my right tab because all those buttons got me all messed up. Okay. So first thing I'm going to talk about, if you have an upcoming event, we have a free calendar on our website that you can add your event to. So it is theconnectshow.com/events /community ad. You don't have to write all that down. I will put it in the chat as soon as I am done with my report. And then a brand new event. I have a few selfless plugs today, you guys. I'm sorry, but they're good. So tomorrow, Small Business Milwaukee is starting a book club. And every week, we're going to discuss a different chapter of a predetermined book. And our first book that we're starting out is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So starting tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Central, we're going to discuss chapter 1 of this book. Tracy's going to do life a little different though. It's not going to be just random all over the place discussion about a book. She's going to pick out some amazing nuggets from chapter 1 and we'll discuss those specific topics. That book right now is less than $8 on Amazon. So if you don't have it, get it. But also Tracy has included on the registration form, which I will put in the chat, a free PDF download. So if you really want the book, but you can't get it by tomorrow, can't get to a bookstore, you can't get it from Amazon, start off with the PDF so you can join us at 11:30 Central tomorrow. Really excited for that. I think this is going to be a fabulous new event. And of course, this is on Zoom. Then I am starting an in-person networking event. If you're not in Wisconsin, fly here, because why not? First and third Monday of every month, we're going to do business over breakfast. And all are welcome. This isn't going to be like a cliquey club. I want everyone to collaborate and really build relationships. Tracy and I believe a ton in networking, and it's kind of what brought us together with a lot of stuff. It's how I met Jon. So I really believe a lot in building the relationships. So this is going to be a really exciting brand new event. That's going to be at the Oak Creek Diner, which is very conveniently off I-94 in Rawson. So if you're flying in here just for this amazing event, also really close to the airport. So, and then our last thing, Jon brought this up at the beginning, but I have to put the plug in for our Epic Networking event every Friday, and that is at 10 a.m. Central Time. I will also link to that in the chat. All of these networking events, please invite your friends so we can all collaborate together and expand our network with each other. I use a hashtag all the time: collaboration, not competition. We are here to help each other. It is not a competition, because there's room for everyone. That's all I got today, guys.
You are the bomb. Thank you so much for doing that. Another wonderful thing, and I'm looking forward to the in-person event at the Oak Creek Diner, because if it says diner, I want to go have some biscuits and gravy. That's the first thing I'm going to do when I go south tomorrow, is wake up in the morning, go have some biscuits and gravy. That's what you get at a diner.
Elton
Great story.
tells me this is his wife's favorite place to go eat. So if
Oh,
Elton's wife likes it, it must be good, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes.
are we off to our next guest? All right. Brian is a fee-based, I can never say this word, fiduciary. Did I say it right? I think I might have. Financial planner. An official distinction that sets him apart from many financial advisors is that he's completely independent fiduciary financial planner. My gosh. A fiduciary is required to be completely objective when making financial investments and planning recommendations.
See, you jinxed yourself by saying, and then it came up 3 times. That's what happened. It wasn't in there earlier, but the universe put that in there for you. Brian works with his clients not for Wall Street. Brian does not owe allegiance to any brokerage firm, financial product, fund, family, or investment. This allows him the freedom to make unbiased, prudent decisions, and he must put his client's interest above all others. Brian believes that everyone can have financial security and live a risk-free, debt-free, tax-free, stress-free life with the right coach. And I have heard him speak about some of the cool stuff that he can do, and I am looking forward to this conversation.
Holy mackerel. I was wondering what you were going to say when you introduced me. So that was great. I love it. I wanted to just, if I could just freeform a little bit here, Jon, Tracy, that would be great. Because beginning of the conversation, I heard a few things come up about money and emotions. And money and emotions, the 3 big ones: fear, greed, and procrastination. And I would say that the biggest killer of all has got to be procrastination. And the second part, for many people, which also came into the conversation, and I'm going to stick it in the chat, was ways to find money that you maybe didn't know that you already had. And that's a big secret. Redirecting dollars you're already spending, but do it more effectively and more efficiently and to create more money. Because one thing that we know that does not exist, Kim Knack, one thing that doesn't exist is extra money. No one has any extra money. So how do we find and create that money? I also, no plan is a plan to fail, right? Imagine going on a vacation without a plan. Imagine like doing shopping without a plan, but yet we operate without a financial roadmap, a blueprint, or a financial plan. And it's very easy, of course, for me to say that because that's my business. But sitting down and actually doing one, starting very simple, small baby steps, small bites is the best way to get going. What we do is rescue, renovate, and refine, eliminate debt, taxes, fees, and losses. With those 3-4 things knocked out of your plan, there's plenty of money left over to save for the future. Financial freedom, when work is optional and retirement is affordable. Starting off with, we all want to hit financial independence, financial freedom. We want to hit that Jeff Bezos kind of money. You can do whatever you want, but you got to start somewhere. Start with creating financial security first, getting a handle on the spending. So those are some of the things that we talk about on a regular basis, and innovative ways to make, manage, and save money. And literally, you could fill books, and books have been filled with information that's not taught in school. My undergrad, accounting, tax, finance, none of this stuff was taught in school. It wasn't taught at the undergraduate level. It wasn't taught at the graduate level. And unfortunately, in today's money business, most of the financial firms teach their people how to sell product, not to build plans and provide solutions. So, John, I don't know where we go from here. Do you want to open up for some questions, some interaction?
Yeah, I have a question. So, you talked about the emotions and procrastination being the number one thing, and some of the things that I hear from people are, I'm embarrassed because I'm at an age where I should have more money because my friend has more money, or my peer group that I grew up with has more money, and so then they procrastinate it. And then the other thing that I hear is that I don't have enough money. So people it's starting out their business. They're mid through they've been in business for a little while, and they're making $1,000, but they're not going to do it now. When I make $5,000, then I'm going to do it. That kind of thing, because I'm not big enough yet. So touch a little bit on being embarrassed and when's the right time to do it.
Sure. Well, the embarrassment part, you kind of have to get over it. I had a medical thing and I had to go to the doctor. Got to take off your clothes. You got, if you want to get fixed, it's like going to the dentist. I got to open my mouth in order for the dentist to do their job. Just get over it. I think it's really important to work with people that aren't going to make judgments. They're not, the fact that folks are seeking help and assistance. And in many cases, I find people are better off than they might think they are. And they just really, depends on whether we're doing a rescue, we're doing a renovation, or we're doing a refinement, right? Some people really need to be rescued. They're spending more than they're bringing in, those, living paycheck to paycheck. And then there's some that have been saving money, but they could be saving more. And there are ways to make up for lost time and lost money as well. But those are my cry to everyone, my passion for everyone is, don't delay another single day. Can you save $5 a week? Can you save $25 a week? And it's sort of like exercise or anything that we do that's good for ourselves. Kind of the more we do, the more we want to do. The less we do, the less we want to do. So don't delay, get started today. Don't worry about picking the perfect plan or the perfect this or the perfect that. Just get started. It's really simple, right? Spend less than you make, save a bunch of it as for a long period of time, eliminate your losses, your taxes, get some helps, get some coaching. So much of it could be done Google and reading online and so on. There's no reason really to be embarrassed, especially when somebody's, reaching out for help. I don't know if that answered the question, John.
It does.
Okay, cool.
So I have a question. Where is the conventional financial wisdom broken?
Tracy, you asked like the best questions in key areas. Let me give you one for instance, which I believe is robbing most Americans of their financial independence or financial freedom. And it's a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. 30-year fixed rate mortgage is a horrible tool to finance a mortgage with. Most mortgages are refinanced every 5 to 7 years. People move, refinance, etc. So a 30-year mortgage turns out to be a 40, 50, or 60-year mortgage to begin with. And most people don't realize that at a 3.5% interest rate, you're going to pay back 40, 50, 60% of your payments are going to go to interest. Now, if I said, hey, Tracy, you know what? We're going to start a mortgage company. We're going to go out there. We're going to tell people we're charging them 3.5%. But what we're really going to charge them is 50 or 60% of their payments is going to be interest. We would go to jail. But yet people are excited that I got a great interest rate. I got a 2.875% interest rate. The only place that you'll find 2.875 is on the promissory note. You'll never see it again. You'll never see it in your payment, your interest, and so on. So 2005 came to the United States, a company called CMG Mortgage, was started by Sir Richard Branson in the UK. And it's a different type of loan that is simple interest, not compound interest, and provides for an offset. For the same monthly payments, most people are paying down their mortgages in 7 to 9 years for the same payment. Now, if we take that a step further and say, well, let's say that your monthly payments are, I don't know, $1,500, $2,000 for your mortgage payment. If you save that for 7 years, 21 years at 7%, that's easily $1 million. In many cases, it's $2 million extra. So choice one, pay off your loan maybe in 30 years, maybe not. Choice two, pay it off in 7 years and save an extra $1 million. That's a big one, John.
Yeah, and working in real estate, one thing I've noticed, I don't know if this is going to come out right, but it doesn't really matter how much a house sells for. It matters what your monthly payment is, because whether the house sells for $200,000 or $300,000, depending on the interest rate, you're only going to get a loan for a $1,500 a month payment. So it's kind of when I look at the interest rate and how the market is, we're kind of in a precarious time where you really have to be smart about your money, smart about your purchase, so that you don't end up with a $400,000 house, even though it's a low interest rate, because it's really not going to be worth $4,000 for a long time. And like what you said, with a 30-year mortgage, then you're getting hit again. So sure. Buy smart, get a good mortgage so that you can be financially sound and have that $1 million in 20 years.
The key thing about it, John, is how interest is calculated. Interest on a 30-year fixed rate loan is something called arrears. If you've ever bought a mortgage or bought a condo or a house or whatever, you move in on January 1st. Well, rent is always due on the 1st. However, your mortgage payment wouldn't be due until the 1st of the following month. It's diabolical. It's actually quite brilliant what they did, is they said, we're going to, and my wife and I, when we first got our condo, the first condo, they said, well, your payment won't be due until the 1st of the following month. I was like, these guys are so nice. We got all these moving expenses and all that. by originating in arrears and putting it on an amortization schedule, and especially in the early years, I'm paying most of my payments are going to interest. Over the 30-year period, 60-70% of my payments could be going to interest. So the payment is part of it. But here's what people focus on when it comes to a mortgage. They focus on what's my interest rate, stated interest rate, which isn't the real actual interest rate, and what's my payment. Now, with the all-in-one loan from CMG, sounds like a commercial, right? CMG all-in-one loan, you actually make the same exact monthly payment that you were going to make on a 30-year fixed. It's because of the way interest is calculated. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And I know when you buy a car, it's the same thing. You walk into a car dealership and the guy will say, well, what do you want for your monthly payment? And then they're going to sell you a car for so much more than it's worth. You know, especially now, you have to be very careful of that. So don't go for the payment amount. Go for the total price after the entire financing is done is what you want to look at.
Same thing with a house. Exact same thing.
Yep.
Cool. So I hope that was helpful. I do have a little webinar I'm doing on Thursday night. And what a lot of people don't realize right now, with all the market turmoil, global crisis, interest rates, inflation, who knows what's going on in the world, in the economy, that there are ways that you can lock in your savings and your investments and never go backwards, where you can get the upside of the market, but put a floor underneath your investment so you never go backwards. And that takes a lot of the fear. We're going to talk about the fear and the greed. Takes a lot of the fear out of the market.
That is a wonderful seminar, and we are going to put a link to that in the chat.
Cool. I don't know if I sucked all the oxygen out of the room.
No, I'm inspired to go look into. Are you an agent for CMG Mortgage, or is that through somebody else?
That is through my wonderful business partner, Ellen.
That is a great thing to know. I think everybody should talk to Ellen if you own a house.
Yeah. We just did one in Connecticut. The royal we, right?
Yep.
Ellen just did one in Connecticut. 28-year mortgage, 2.875. You can't get 2.875 now because interest rates have come up. 28 years on their mortgage. They had been living in the house already 10 years. So now they have a 40-year mortgage in my book. Now, the pain of refinancing again, but then we'll have the house paid off in less than 14 years for the same payment. So take that. We did the calculations at 7%. It's an extra $500,000 in their account. Tracy, sorry, I didn't mean to.
That's okay. I was just wondering if Ellen Daley is the Ellen you're talking about.
Yes. I don't know where she went.
I don't know either, but I put her contact
she's right
on.
here. Come on in.
The
internet kicked her off.
The internet kicked me off. Sorry.
And I've got my business partner, attorney up there in Massachusetts, Mike Reed, on this. Mike, are you there? He probably did. He's like, "What the hell are you calling on me for?"
Yes,
I can hear you, but I'm not showing my face. Good call.
Yeah, good deal. So good to have you on there, Mike. We're just talking. By the way, this is the guy, Mike Reed, the attorney up in Massachusetts, that started the whole all-in-one mortgage deal with us 2 years ago. Now, going on 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He said, "Man, you got to take a look at this. This is something different." I was like, "Yeah, sure."
And Brian, I got to tell you guys, Brian's got a lot of ways, creative and innovative ways, way out of the box way, I would say. I mean, I practiced law for almost 40 years now, and you kind of see a lot of different perspectives. But you meet Brian, and he shows you the obvious. But sometimes the obvious is hidden. So it's worthy of your time to spend a few minutes picking his brain. Let me just say that.
Thanks, Mike. I'll pay you later.
All right.
Great stuff.
Al has a question in the chat. He says, Can you make extra payments often applied to principal directly? Does that help?
It does. It's all. Please don't take offense to this, Al. It's almost like putting lipstick on a pig. The lipstick looks a little. The pig looks a little bit better, but it's still a pig, right?
Yep.
And the other thing about a 30-year fixed rate mortgage is, and you put more money into the mortgage, you're paying those extra principal payments and appreciation on the property, and then you get into a jam and you need your money. You have to requalify to get your equity out of the property. And if you're in a jam, you might not be able to requalify. The all-in-one, you
good
just
point.
write out a check. Just write out if you want to skip payments, etc. Since they started the program since 2000, it sounds like a commercial for all-in-one here today. But since they started the program in 2005, this is the most astounding fact. They have not had a single foreclosure or a single default on any one of their loans. Now remember, 2005 means they went through 2008 and 2009, record default, record payments, record pain out there in America, and they didn't have a single foreclosure on any of their loans. Because if you think about it, somebody gets into a jam, they could just write out a check for the electric payment, the car payment, the food payment, the mortgage payment, get back on their feet, they won't lose their house.
I cannot wait to find more information about that. Thank you so much, Brian and Ellen. We'll be talking.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Great show.
Before you guys leave, can you tell us a little bit more about Epic? Because we are doing your Epic networking events on Fridays. Can you just tell everybody a little bit more about how Epic got started? And
Absolutely. And we really got to make an effort to start drumming some support and some people to the Epic meetings. Sorry about that. But we'll get on it. We'll get on it. We got to get the link. That'll be good. Start pushing it out. Real quick, as a matter of fact, I was doing mortgages 2008, 2009. The wheels fell off. I needed to reinvent myself. I had no one to talk to, nowhere to go, and I started networking. I had a friend of mine who invited me to his group, but they already had a financial advisor. Make a long story short, I said, well, I'll start my own group. I started it using LinkedIn, by the way, and now we're 5 national groups, 22 in Florida, 50 cities. I don't know, depending on how you count it, 75,000 members throughout the country. And the good news about it for us and many of the people in the group, you never worry about where your next appointment's coming from. You never worry about where your next deal is, because your referral network is so robust. One of our biggest challenges is we got to block out time in our appointment book to either get work done or have fun. You know? It's been
Great problems to have.
Epic has been the most rewarding thing we've ever done. All the way around, what we've done for other people, well, for charities, for friendships, for relationships. One of the best things we've ever done. So if you're not part of our Epic inclusive family, shame, shame, shame. Come, no dues, no fees, no mandatory meetings, right?
Yeah.
No brainer.
yeah,
And as a longtime Epic participant, I can say that I really enjoy the relationships that I've built and the people that I've met in the organization. And without Epic, I wouldn't be going to Florida tomorrow to film a show.
There we go.
So
and I
all
want to talk
thanks
about
to you.
your real estate shows too.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll grab coffee while I'm there.
That sounds great, John. Tracy,
All right.
I appreciate your putting this
All right,
together.
thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
on.
All right, thank you. So before we go, I know we're running a little bit over. Thank you, Brian, for joining us today. Appreciate it. And if you'd like to join us on Fridays for our Epic event, we have Friday mornings at 10 a.m., a networking event where we can connect with other businesses, develop strategic partnerships, and grow your business with a larger community. So thanks everyone for coming today. We really appreciate all of you for sticking with us.
Yeah, it was a great show.
My wife said, "Don't forget to save the chat."
Oh yeah,
Save the chat.
we need that shirt, like that Save Pedro shirt.
That was fun. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian.
Bye-bye.
So
Thank you.
join us next week for March on Madness, and we'll see everybody later. Okay.
On madness. Okay.
Thanks,
All
everyone.
right. Thank you, everyone. Okay.
Stop
some
our
reason-
recording.
Now I do not have access to stop recording. That happened last week too, by the way.
Mm.
Maybe once he stops streaming.